What's the difference between the Kenner Star Wars Landspeeder and the Palitoy Star Wars Landspeeder? Well, I'll tell you that and more. Welcome back to the Junk Room, everybody. It's me, the Junkman, coming back at you with... Sorry about that. Whole different meaning. Anyway, it's me back with another video. Today I'm going to tell you the difference between some of the Star Wars toys made by Kenner and toys made by Palitoys. If you lived in the UK, you know Palitoys. It's who made the Star Wars toys. And over here, of course, it was Kenner. Before we get started with that, as always, you want to support this channel, just click right there and support us on Patreon. There you'll get videos early, outtakes, longer cuts, me doing commentary on some of the older videos, latest news in Star Wars, Toyland, whatever. Well, we have a lot of fun over there. Also, if you want to support the channel another way and get a cool shirt like this one right here, head over to thatjunkman.com. Links in the description below, and you can buy some cool t-shirts or mugs or more. And I always tell you to follow me on Twitter, or sometime I do, but I'm going to tell you to join the Junkman's Junk group on Facebook. I need to build that up and get on Facebook more. So if you're on Facebook, go to the description below and join us on the Junkman's Junk group on Facebook. But you're not here to hear me brag about what social media I use. We're going to talk Palitoys versus Kenner. Now, first up, this is Kenner. I don't have any Palitoy stuff. Nothing against it, just never had it. But did you know that some of the toys are different? Now, we all know about the Death Star. Where's it at? That's the Kenner Death Star way over there. But the Palitoy one, totally different. But we'll get to that in a second. One question I get asked the most, why are you such a jackass? But the second question I get asked the most is, why was the Palitoy toys different? At least some of them. Mostly the playsets and vehicles. Palitoys had to pay a licensing fee to Lucasfilms. No surprise there. But they also had to pay a fee to Kenner to use their molds, package art, instructions, lots of other things. So they needed to save costs. That way all you over there in the UK wouldn't have to pay $50 for a Landspeeder. So they cut corners. Sometimes it was less mold needed. Other times they removed electronics. It was all to benefit the kids. Sure, your X-Wing didn't have that at the dentist drilling sound, but at least you had an X-Wing and you didn't have to pay $50 for it. So let's look at some of the different things. I'm not going to look at the minor things like the stamp date on the back of an action figure leg or some little logos or copyright information on a box. We're going to look at just the major stuff. And let's go with the obvious. If you can see it over my shoulder here, the Kenner Death Star. I should have brought it closer to you, but I'm not lugging that thing all the way over here to the table. Now, as you know, the Kenner one stands tall, has 3 levels. 4 if you count the bottom, because you actually pay, but the bottom's not really a level. So it has 3 levels. Has a working elevator, a drawbridge, a working trash compactor. What else does it have? Doesn't make any sounds. Doesn't sound like you're at the dentist office at all. It does have a cannon. You can hit a button and blow it up. And when you shrivel the cannon around, it makes a clicking sound. And it did come with the trash monster. So it's a pretty good playset. Now, I'm not saying that the Palitoy one isn't a good playset. Now, I never had this, and honestly, I've never even seen it in person, just online. From you guys out there I talked to on Twitter and the Facebook group that did have this, you love it. You think it's the best playset in the series. Most of us that grew up on Kenner believe the Death Star is the best playset in the series. So, even if it's totally different, it looks like at least both Palitoys and Kenner spent a lot of time to making it one of the best playsets. To me, the Kenner one with the levels is better than the cardboard one.
Levels.
But again, I never seen this cardboard one, never played with it as a kid, so it's really hard for me to say which one is better. But they're totally different. It's 2 different playsets. But me personally, I do prefer the Kenner Death Star one. It's right over there. Do you see it? No, that's no moon. That's the Death Star. You knew I had to throw that one in there, didn't you? Okay, let's go on to the next one. And we're going to talk the speeder of the land, the Landspeeder. Now, don't worry, Palitoy fans. It still had the spring action wheels on it. That makes it look like it floats. I mean, look at this. Whee, whee. How fun is that, right? Well, there is some difference between this, the Kenner Landspeeder, and the Palitoy Landspeeder. Mostly, one of the big differences is the mold, but I'm not going to get into that. Again, I want to focus on stuff that you can actually tell by just glancing at it or playing with it. Here's the big difference. An opening hood. The Palitoy, sorry UK fans, didn't have an opening hood which shows the engine of the Landspeeder on the inside. Let me get a better shot so you can see this. Now I want to point out that this is just a sticker. It is not real. It's not a real engine. There's no real wires or anything in there. It's just a sticker. And if I remember correctly, I might be wrong on this, that you had to put this sticker in yourself. I think I remember as a kid putting this sticker on myself, and it was a pain in the wazooza. But that's it. The Palitoy one didn't open. So you didn't get to have your Luke Skywalker or Darth Vader act like he was working on his Landspeeder. I don't know about you, but I always had Luke or Ben or somebody hunched over working on a Landspeeder, and someone would sneak in and drive off on it. It was a little fun feature there. So it just made it a little extra fun. I always enjoyed the Landspeeder. It's always been one of my favorites. And if I was Palitoys, I would have spent, and it couldn't have cost that much extra to put a little flap right there. So sorry you didn't get that, but hey, you got a round cardboard Death Star that we didn't get. So what else is the difference between the Palitoys and the Kenner? Well, next up is the X-Wing. And I have an X-Wing right over there. I don't know if you can see it. It's probably really small. But Larry the Wampa's hanging out on it right now. So I'm not going to bring it all the way over here, because it's really not anything this major to talk about. The only thing really different is the R2 color. The R2 on the Palitoys is more of a chrome look. Well, that one's more of a silver and blue R2 look. And the major difference here is the electronic sound has been removed. Sorry again, UK kids. So that's only really major difference there, so we can move on to the Creature Cantina. Do I have a Creature Cantina? Yes, I do. It's behind the AT-AT, and I don't feel like getting my lazy butt over there and moving it, because I have to move the AT-AT and bring it over here, and you know what the Cantina looks like, so why sit here and bother you with it? You want to know the difference between that Cantina and the Palitoy's Cantina, and that's what I'm here to tell you about. And this one here's got a lot of changes. First off, one change is the bar base is a little smaller, different shape. One of the first things you really notice from looking at it is the different sticker, at least on the bar. On the bar, there's a sticker on it that makes it look like it has bar stools. Now, when you first look at the box, you think, cool, I can put my Star Wars figures on a bar stool. But no, it's just a sticker. You can't touch it at all. You can't put a figure on it. But so it looks kind of odd. There's bar stools, but they're really flat against the bar. But still, you could have figures stand in front of it, I guess. The door and the door frame is a different mold also. Now let's start begging for the third legging when we talk about the Droid Factory. Don't worry, both the Kenner and Palitoy one came with a 3-legged R2-D2. But the Palitoy's was a lot different than the Kenner release. It's almost completely different. In fact, the Kenner one had a crane. The UK one took away the crane and put a conveyor belt. Now I like the crane. I never played with a Palitoy one, but the thought of having a conveyor belt sounds pretty cool. So you may have gotten the best of this one. Not really sure, because either way, it's not one of the best play sets there is. It's more like a Lego wannabe set. The fun with this was making your own droids more than playing with the base. Also, the Palitoy one had 2 different color bases, a blue or a yellow. From what I can find, both of these are common. It's not like they did an early release in blue and then changed it. It seems these were shipping out about the same time. Sadly, although I have no official numbers, the UK one did come with less pieces. Sorry again, UK. So let's move over to the Land of the Jawas. And I actually have Land of the Jawas, but it's over there and you can't see it. And I'm not going to get up and go get it. What is the difference between the Land of the Jawa playset from Kenner and the one from Palitoy's? Well, mostly the base. The Palitoy's is a little thinner base and a more yellow color than the Kenner release. Also, for some reason, it has a thin plastic frame around the base. I'm not really sure why this was on it. It looks like you would save cost by just cutting that part off. What's the major difference here is? Once again, you over at the UK misses out. The best part of this playset, at least for me, was getting the escape pod. But you kids over in the UK, you didn't get an escape pod with yours. Nope. You just got the base and the cardboard backdrop of the Sandcrawler. At least it does have the working elevator like the Kenner release. But again, the Kenner release came with an escape pod, but the Palitoy didn't. In fact, I will get up and show you the escape pod. And here it is. Wasn't that quick. This is the escape pod that you kids in the UK just didn't get to play with. Now, a lot of the stuff that changed for the Palitoy figures also was changed for other companies that release stuff in Mexico or Australia or I don't know, where else they sold Star Wars toys. But this is the escape pod. You can look it in. It's nothing really fancy. Almost looks like some kind of cup holder thing or something. In fact, I remember they actually got figure stands in there. I don't think I ever noticed that. Look at that. They actually have stands, little pegs to put your figures in. I don't know why you would want that. I mean, they're going to fall when you shake it anyway. I remember my friend Mike across the street had one of these. And his mom, one day got it and used it as an ashtray. Yeah. She smoked and dumped her ashes in it. He had to clean it out for days. Which I don't know why, because I don't know if you grew up in the 80s like we did, but if you grew up in the 80s, one thing you always did in elementary school and art class was make clay ashtrays for your parents. I bet kids don't do that today, do they? Do you have kids? Are you a child? Do you make ashtrays at school for your parents? It was a simpler time in the 80s. Simpler times. You knew what to get your parents for Christmas. Homemade ashtrays. Anyway, that's a look at the difference between Kenner and Palitoys. I get a lot of people asking me at times, like, hey, my Landspeeder doesn't have the opening hatch. What's wrong? That's why. Because it's a Palitoy. Kind of short video. There's not really that much changes here. And again, the major one is the Death Star, as we all know. And I guess the Droid Factory is almost like a different set also. If you're out there collecting Star Wars, you don't care if it's Kenner or Palitoys, but you want to collect everything that is different, you definitely want to add the Death Star to your playset and the Droid Factory. The other stuff is so minor, you can just buy the Kenner one or whatever one you want to buy. Anyway, thank you for watching. Be back with another video very soon. Until then, don't forget, head over to the Facebook Junkman group to join in the discussion there, where we talk all kinds of stuff, not just toys, not just Star Wars, whatever we feel like talking about. But we'll be back again with another video very, very soon. Woo!
Thank you, sir, for that unsolicited testimony.
Ugh.